everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Fingered Cat, and it's time for a Christmas in July project. So I decided I wanted to do kind of a torn inky effect across a panel. I got out my Christmas season stamps and I left this in because I flung one of them and it went down the hole at the back of my desk, and that was all of the stuff that I got out from when I went to go and try and find my stamp. Yeah, it's a mess under there. It needs a proper clean out. Anyway, I've torn some paper and I'm just going to use a little bit of washi tape, try and keep it in place. It does shift around. Should have used my waffle flower grip mat, but never mind. And I decided that I'm going to do bluey tealy colours as a non-traditional colours, especially since I'm going to be stamping things like pine cones. So yeah, just decided to have a bit of a change of colour and go for something a bit non-traditional. So I've inked using both Island Indigo and Lost Lagoon through the sort of gap in between those two torn papers, which I've fiddled around a lot, so not very clever. And then I am just now stamping using Christmas season stamps in, again, a mix of the colours. Lost Lagoon, Island Indigo, Tranquil Tide, that was the other colour I used. I was like, I'm sure I used a third colour. So I then decided I wanted to splatter a little bit of gold, so I've got some Art Alchemy paint there, and I just added a little bit of water to my paintbrush and just did a bit of splattering. Set that aside to dry, and then I put all my stamps away, which is a bit daft because later on I end up getting them all back out again, but there you go. So at this point I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, so that's my starting point. So off I go, stamps are back out again. This time I'm going to ink them up in the three colours again, but using my stamp platform because I want some depth of the ink, and some of my ink pads are a little bit dry, which was fine on the little inky panel, but on this I wanted them to just look a little bit different. So I am adding the second layer to the pine cones on this, although it doesn't really show up too much. And I'm also adding a bit of the Island Indigo even to the green leaves that I've stamped. So double, triple, quadruple stamping, I'm not quite sure what they end up being. And then these ones I'm going to die cut out because I actually want to create a little cluster on top of the torn strip. And it's going to make 2 cards in total, so it's like a 2-for-1 project. I just started with a panel of half of an A4 size. That's how I did it. So yeah, die cutting all of these out. Don't know why I make you watch all of this. This is the most interesting thing in the world. But yeah, die cut them all out. I did cut one of those pine cones just slightly off. Potentially, I think. Yeah, it's that one there that's slightly off. So I create my little clusters. I put a little bit of washi tape on the top just to try and keep them in place whilst I then tape the background. It's just a good way of doing it to try and keep it. I think American crafters tend to use something like press and seal. Don't have press and seal in the UK. At first I thought I was going to stamp a sentiment, and then I changed my mind. So I've now brought out my trimmer and I have cut down the panels into 2 different panels. And at this point I'm trying to work out, do I want some twine on there? Do I want something in terms of ribbon? And I take these 2 lots of threads. I do end up switching out that one that's on the right hand side. I don't end up using the sort of the goldy coloured one. Now I've decided that my sentiment is going to be the 'Tis the Season, but I'm not sure what colour to stamp it in. So I stamp it in all of them and I cut them all out, and I just, I end up using 2 different colours in total. I use the Island Indigo one and the Lost Lagoon one. Die cut them all out, and then I've decided that I'm not going to use that Mossy Meadow, so I'm going to start layering them up just so that there's some extra stability to them and dimension, that's the word I'm looking for. And now it's time for me to glue things down. oh yes, I decide on my colour of cardstock. So I actually went for shaded spruce, and just cut from the cardstock 2 card blanks, and now I'm deciding on my arrangements. This is the point where I decided that ribbon, that bit of embroidery floss that I'd turned into a bow wasn't the right colour at all. I thought it might have gone with the gold that was splattered in the background, but it just wasn't working. So keeping these fairly simple, fairly flat as well, because there's no real dimension apart from the sentiment. Everything else is, although there's obviously a couple of layers of cardstocks in that cluster, I'm not using foam or anything to make them higher, so they're fairly flat cards. I decided obviously I want the inside of the card. Now I've chosen a dark cardstock as the base, so I'm just going to use this bit of torn paper again to just create a torn edge on the inside, using the ink that's left in the on the brush. Didn't re-ink it or anything. It just adds a little bit of something on the inside. So now I'm deciding on my gems, and I decide literally just to add 1 gem to each of them. I decide that it doesn't need any more, and there we go. Now the sun had gone in when the time I took these pictures, so they do look a little bit darker than in real life, but I'm really happy with these. So please do give me a thumbs up if you also enjoyed these. A bit of a different, non-traditional coloured Christmas card, just using lots of foliage and those lovely pine cones. Are you doing Christmas in July? I'd love to know. Let me know, and then I can see if I can come and follow you if you're doing Christmas in July too. And subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, goodbye.